as the integrity of the person is not at stake, in as such as the person is not found to be wanting in any of the activities that are illegal as far as countries' code of conduct, countries' general orders are concerned. So we deemed it necessary as young people to show the government that we are dissatisfied and we as young people are not happy in the way and manner in which this case is being handled, and we are calling them to listen to us as youth leaders, us as people that represent our own fellow youths in various organizations and in various regions, to heed with us on the decisions that we want to take in regard of this case. We want the National Youth Council to be autonomous, in a sense that the National Youth Council should be an independent youth institution, should be an independent youth organization that will represent the interest of young people of this country. The youth of this country has ever been united. The youth of this country has ever been speaking on one voice, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of demography, or among others. Whenever we come for a common good, we all speak on that common good. And we have seen with the succession of all other previous members of this council, Lamin stood to be one of the outstanding leaders of this council. Lamin has done his work properly, but as I said earlier, we are not looking into the personality effect of it. We want to be rational as well as young leaders. We are also looking into the institutional history, that if this happens today, what will happen tomorrow? So we can have many Lamin Davos therein. Therefore, anything that we are doing as a government, anything that we are doing as responsible people, it should definitely follow the process that is going to please all stakeholders. As we said earlier, it is not bad to do anything in consultation with the people. If there was an uprising from the youth to say we don't want Lamin, or we don't want any person at the Youth Council, then it could have been something. But this is in the contrary. This is where young people stood up to say, no, you have taken somebody who has championed this. You have taken somebody who has took this institution from one level to another level. At least the least that Lamin could have got is a token of appreciation for his service not to be terminated. And we felt that with all what had happened, there was no true remorse in the letter that they sent to Lamin. In that case, we felt that it's important we face the government and talk to them and tell them that we, the young people of this country, are definitely not dissatisfied, and we want henceforth the National Youth Council to be independent and autonomous in the way it delivers its activities. However, we have our colleagues here who will be talking on these issues, and we have come with resolutions, and we are going to point out the resolutions and the way forward in those resolutions that my colleague Lala will talk about. But before that, I will just hand over the microphone to the chairperson of the Youth Council, who will brief us on the meeting that they had at their own level, at the council level, and the resolutions that they come with, which we are all going to put as one in our way forward in pursuing this case. We thank you all for coming, and especially all the media houses who are here. We thank you very much for your attendance.
Binda, you're also Kenyan police.
Yes.
Okay, Let me first of all seek the blessing of my Lord, the Almighty Allah, by saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And we'll want to take this opportunity to thank all the media houses that are here present. I'll also want to thank the constituency that we're serving, that is the young people of this great country of ours, the Gambia. There is no National Youth Council without these young people. And there will be no young people when there is no Youth Council. So we are there serving young people. And based on the services that we provide for them and based on their needs, we will advise government to ensure that young people's issues are felt in every policy, in every programs, in everything that government does for young people. That is basically the responsibility of the National Youth Council. Moving from that, at the level of the council, I received a letter as the chairperson of the National Youth Council 2 days ago that my executive director was, services were terminated. As the chair of the council, I took it upon myself the National Youth Council Act. The National Youth Council Act stipulated in one of the articles, I cannot remember the article, the name of the article, but stated that the executive secretary should stay for 5 years and will be subjected to renewal. According to them, that's where they are holding on to, and they wanted to see change at the National Youth Council. I asked whether Lamin have done anything wrong, both financial malpractices or professional misconducts and all those stuffs. But they made it very clear that he has done nothing and he has no problem with anybody at the ministry. They just felt like they needed a new brain, a new person to come to the National Youth Council. I gave them the advice that I should give as chairperson of the National Youth Council, because that is my responsibility. As chairperson, I'm supposed to advise them on policy issues with regards to the council and regards to issues of young people. I told them, that to me, I will appeal if you people could rescind this decision, because the time we are, probably might not be that much conducive for us to go ahead with this decision. And as a result, I convened a council meeting, for an emergency council meeting for our council because when I talk to them as chairperson youth council, as an individual. But I felt I represented a whole nation where I have people that I work with in the same council. So I called for an emergency council meeting, and we've discussed as a council, and the decisions that we made was, you are our young people. You are the one we are serving. If you wanted us here, whatever decisions that you want to make, we will come. And therefore, we have identified a task force from our council, which is headed by myself as chairperson of the National Youth Council, with the female rep of the National Youth Council, Nimansata Sise, with Lamin B. Sise, my chairperson for Kanifing, and Omar Jammeh, the chairperson for Central River Region, to serve as the task force committee, because despite young people that we are serving have their own approach to the issue, we cannot allow them to go alone. We have to be with them to ensure that, we provide leadership in ensuring that this issue could not escalate to any other thing. And that's why we are here to provide that leadership. And the other thing is, according to our discussions, we did not, at the level of the council, we have agreed to write to the minister and his team at the office about the position of the National Youth Council, that we want them to reinstate Lamin, rescind their decision and reinstate Lamin for us to move on, probably up to certain times. That's what we've agreed as a council that we're going to write, and currently the program manager of the council is currently writing that letter that we're going to send to the minister. These are the few action points that we've taken as a council and our engagement, the minister and the permanent secretary promised to get back to me. And that's why the whole of yesterday, even the media houses that get to me, I told them that I cannot comment, I cannot say anything until I hear from the ministry. So basically, this is the stance of the National Youth Council. We have met and we have taken decision that we're going to provide leadership in this whole entire program issue, and we will also going to write. And we implore on all the young people of this country to remain steadfast and to remain calm. We are going to provide that leadership that is required of us, that is to get to the government and negotiate, talk to them to ensure that we bring sanity back to National Youth Council. We will not go into any physical or whatsoever confrontation between us and the government, because our position as key persons or our position as a council is very sensitive in this sense, based on the fact that based on your issues, we advise government on that. And when government also have issues and policies that are supposed to be communicated to the young people, we do that. So we have a very sensitive issue in that. We will not leave the young people behind, and we will not let you people alone. We will be with you at every level of your struggle, because that's why we are there. And we will continue to provide that leadership for you until the time that we are all going to provide an answer to this problem and a solution to this problem. Basically, that's what we've discussed as a council. Currently, our letters the letter that the council agreed to send to the ministry, they are writing, the program manager is writing it. From here, I will go to the office and sign that, and it will be dispatched to the ministry probably on Monday, because I know there is no, offices have closed. And we have to listen to some of those things. And Lamin at his end has also write a petition to the Secretary General at the office, Secretary General and Head of Civil Service. And he has also written back to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, telling them that, their decision is unlawful. We are waiting as a council to get reply from the Secretary General and also to get a response from the ministry concerning the letter that Lamin wrote to them. So basically, this is the stance of the National Youth Council. And we want to thank the national youth organizations or the civil society for the stance that they have taken. We are with you, helter and skelter, to the last end, that we will find a solution to this problem and move forward to having a council that is independent, having a council that is not influenced by partisan politics, having a council that is not influenced by individual interests, but having a council that will live to represent the views and aspirations of the young people of this great country of ours, the Gambia. I thank you all.
Yes, thank you very much. You are watching live proceedings at the press conference organized by the Gambian youth, of course, there, demanding for answers, and of course, that is basically, of course, after the dismissal of Lamin Dabo, the former executive director of the National Youth Council, and that was the chairperson of the National Youth Council there speaking on some of the council's position since the dismissal of course, Lamin Dabo. That news broke yesterday, and today they today they called on a press conference to inform the rest of the young people, of course, and the Gambian people at large, what is their position with regards to what happened, and that's what they're talking about. So we go back to that and keep following the proceedings.
Good afternoon, the members of the National Youth Council. We understand there are various chairpersons representing the council here. Good afternoon, viewers, and good afternoon, media. Like Babukar rightly mentioned, my name is Taslima Jallo, and I am a member of the civil society. And I'm also part of the members that came together to want to also express our dissatisfaction to the act or the decision of relieving the National Youth Council Executive Director of his services. First, one of the key reasons why we are dissatisfied was that we felt the ministry owe all the young people of this country an explanation. We won't accept our executive director that we have a very close working relationship, who we believe have served to assist capacity to the best interest of this country, but of course also doing as to what we feel is right. And sacking or relieving someone of his duties, we expect reasons to be also advanced. However, the chairman also mentioned in his speech, based on his engagement or the council's engagement with the ministry, that the ministry acted according to them, that based on the power that the act gave them. We would have also expected as a ministry, when doing such decisions, we expect this particular act to be cited. And because we understand the 2000 National Youth Council Act still exists. There are other acts. There is also an amended act that still also is in use by the council. And at the end of the day, there is conflict in the two, because they conflict at some point, especially in terms of who should fire who, and possibly the reasons. I am glad that the ministry also acknowledged that Lamin Darboe's dismissal has nothing to do with foul play or doing things that are not right. Also, we would just also want to mention that we would like to implore on the government to go back on this and rescind their decision and ensure that Mr. Darboe is reinstated. But of course, also, we also call on the government to also, for at least for the first time, because we feel as civil society that this government has not been considering us as young people. We are left out in so many ways, and we felt that this is possibly an attack to us as young people. And we believe government could do better, especially the ministry, in ensuring that young people have a level ground to play, but of course also we are treated fairly. On that note, I would still reiterate my call for the government to reconsider its decision, but of course also act accordingly, and of course come out and explain to us the reasons why Mr. Darboe is actually sacked.
All right, thank you very much. I think
yes,
that is
there you
fair.
have it. Of course, that's one of the members of the civil society, youth organization, or council, whatever. They're of course demanding for answers. I think the call has been almost the same, and of course, like the chairperson of the National Youth Council alluded to, they want to know the reasons why. They want to, of course, they're demanding answers, like I said, and of course, like the member was saying, that's Jallo. He was, of course, saying, they want to know the reasons of Lamin sacking, and of course, he was saying that it was good that the ministry have acknowledged that Lamin did not do anything wrong based on his, that led to his sacking. So for that being the case, they felt he was unjustly, removed from his position, and he's someone that has been serving the interests of the young people. So we go back there and keep following the proceedings.
We all know we're in a critical condition at the moment as far as young people of this country is concerned. It's a shocking news to everybody. The moment we had the news, Lamin has been dismissed from NYC as the executive director. So it is very, very disheartening for the government to take such decision. So I am calling on the government to, especially the Minister of Youth and Sport, to look at the decision what they have taken. Because Lamin, being the National Youth Council Executive Director, has done a great job with the council members. So for that being the case, the decision have to be looked at again, at least to reinstate Lamin and see the job well done he is doing for the country. Because when you see since he came into office, there are a lot of good job he has been done, even at the regional level. Everybody in this country, as far as young people is concerned, we can all attest to that. So for that being the case, and we urging young people also, let's take the situation calm. We work in solidarity so that one that can be achieved. Because as a young people, we have the highest intelligence. So for that being the case, our voices have to be heard in this country. So with that note, I am urging everybody, let's stay calm and work this thing in a dialogue so that we can see the way forward. We will have what we want in this country, inshallah, as far as young people is concerned. I am thanking you all.
All right, thank
They
you
go
very
again.
much.
The call has been the same. Lamin have to be reinstated back to the National Youth Council as the executive director. Since he has been, removed from that post since yesterday, as announced by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. But of course, the young people of this country have, of course, reignite their call. And of course, let's go back again and keep following the proceedings as it unfolds.
Engaging the Office of the President and engaging the National Assembly and also our fellow youth organizations. Why we are doing this, for clarity again, is we want the institutional reforms that we are talking about in this country to be what it should be. Why we are doing this is because we want continuity in the way and manner in which works are done in offices. We definitely do not want an instance where people will be brought from nowhere who doesn't know the work or who can't do the work to be the leaders of people of a different demography. We therefore implore all young people, as we said, that we are going to take this up using all things that our colleague here will talk about, and then we will dispatch and put a follow-up to the next actions that we are going to take place. So Lala, you can, on behalf of it. Thank you.
They're still talking, and of course, everybody wants to have a say. More or less, they are talking about the same thing, but it's a collaborative effort, and of course, they want to make sure that their voices will be heard, and eventually, maybe the government will listen to their call. So, of course, apparently, as we keep on listening to what they're saying, is that of course Lamin has been doing a very good job, a very excellent job at the National Youth Council as the executive director. So, for that reason, there's no reason necessarily that that should warrant for his sacking. But again, we should go back, I believe, and keep following the proceedings as they continue to, talk on behalf of the young people, and of course also let the Gambian people know what is their position. Of course, at this moment, that's the civil society, young, or should I say youth association or whatever. So we go back again.
My colleague Taslima and National Female Representative at the National Youth Council of the Gambia. I have been saying this since the news of Lamin's dismissal got to us as youth leaders in this country. And we have expressed our dissatisfaction with the dismissal and the manner in which the dismissal was done by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. But this is not just about the dismissal of Lamin Dabo as the executive director of the National Youth Council. For a lot of us, this is standing up to make sure that the National Youth Council does not become a part of partisan politics in this country. That the National Youth Council continues to be an institution that stands to represent the needs of every single young person in this country. That the National Youth Council continues to respect and work with young people regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their demographic background, regardless of their gender, what they believe in, or the religious practices that they follow. This is something that we have we have been talking about for the longest time. And the fact that the ministry took this step to dismiss Lamin, and we've had, when we came here today, we said we were not going to get emotional with our conversations, that we were going to come out here and make our demands known and take a clear stance as to what we want to be done as young people of this country. But it is rather unfortunate that somebody in a position as high as the Deputy Permanent Secretary will go on national TV and make allegations like he did at the National Youth, the Executive Director of the National Youth Council. We as young people who have been working with this man for the longest time have came out in our like numbers to express how dissatisfied we are and how much of a good leader he was. If there were any issues of incompetence, it should have been from us as the youth fraternity and not the Deputy Permanent Secretary. And he did it in the least professional and unethical ways on national TV, which takes us to the conversation that this is just beyond dismissing dismissing someone for any other reason but personal grudges, which clearly are behind the motives as to why he was dismissed. Now, coming back to our demands, for us, this is not just about getting Lamin back, reinstated back as the Executive Director of the National Youth Council. For us, this is us building and standing up for an institution, the only institution that we can look up to or go back to as young people when we want our rights respected and promoted in this country. For the longest time, we've been labeled and tagged and called names, called lazy, all these things, and we've let them go. But this one, we're saying no, that we are not going to stand by and let it go, that we are going to do whatever it is that we can do within our legal rights to make sure that not only Lamin is reinstated, but we look into the amendment of all instruments that empowers the government to have interference in the work of the National Youth Council as an institution. We want autonomy, complete autonomy. We don't want to be semi-autonomous. We want complete autonomy. We want independence. We want to be able to serve our mandate without interference from the government through its ministry of the youth and sports. This is what we want, and this is clearly going to be on the top of our scale of preference when we make our demands to the state about this issue. And we are also going to make sure that moving on, we've been called radicals before for taking onto the streets to protest for our rights. We've been labeled and called names for exercising our democratic and constitutional rights to protest and freedom of assembly and association. So what we are going to do this time as civil society, as youth leaders, we will not take on the streets and protest. We might not take on the streets and protest, might not. But what we are going to do, if the government does not take a stance to reinstate Lamin Dabo, if the government does not take a stance to work with us to amend the act that gives them the power to interfere in the institution of the National Youth Council, as civil society, we are going to boycott the National Youth Council. We will not have anything to do with the National Youth Council. We will not work with the National Youth Council. We will continue our work to impact the lives of young people, of our people on the ground, and impact change on our own. And maybe it might be difficult to do this. Maybe it might be difficult to take a stance on our own, but we are going to do what we have to do to make sure the government gives us the respect we deserve as young people of this country. Now, it is about time that we stop it is about time that the government stops turning to young people when they need us. It is about time they respect us after elections. It is about time they respect us after they need us to be their campaign materials. We are saying that it is not happening again, that we are used as campaign tools when they need us, and we are thrown behind the back of the building after they are done, and we are not consulted in any of their policy-making processes. We are not consulted in any of their decision-making processes. We are marginalized and sidelined, and they do to us what they want to do to us, and we are saying it's enough. We've had enough of that, and we are not going to allow it again. And as young people, we are going to stand together. We are going to speak in one voice. We are going to take our stance, and we are going to make sure that it is respected by the government that we voted into office to represent and serve in our best interest. Thank you very much.
Well, that sounds a very strong message there from, of course, one of the speakers there, as you can hear, with some strong message, by the way, and of course also with some demands along the line that, of course, it's not only to we will go back because the chairman is speaking and we need to hear what he's saying.
Leave the media, of course, to ask questions that we will answer, and henceforward, we are also going to continue with our actions as Lala stipulated, that we have actions that we are going to take, and of course, we will take those actions that we are working on currently, because there was a long, long day of who our elected representatives of the councils were making decisions that could have delayed those actions to be published and shared with the media. However, it is going to be a follow-up thing that we are going to push on to ensure that it reaches the final stage. The questions are now open for the media for any question they want to ask. Okay, yeah, so what we will do is like, you will tell us where you're from, the media house, and whatsoever. So we got, yes, flex down.
Yes, my name is Taylor from Guyanaco Online News.
Thank you.
So my question, I think, falls to the chairperson. I prefer to use the word chairperson. Would you explain, you said that the minister, when you had a meeting with them, the authorities, they said that they are thinking of a new person coming in. At any time, have they made any clear indication who this new person is? If this new person comes, what then will your minister, the National Youth Council, what will your stand be? Will you rally behind this new guy, or will you rebel against this new guy? Who is this new guy?
Anyway, at personal level, the information that they've asked me to do, they've asked me to advertise the position for an immediate replacement for him, which I said I was going to hold on to that until we exhaust all the things that we wanted to have, disposal that we want to have in terms, and so that that is reinstated. So they did not have, in fact, if they have it, that's not my knowledge. But the issue what they told me that was very clear was for me to advertise a position.
So how can they ask you to advertise a position and then they say that they have a new
What they
person
said,
in mind?
what they said, they don't say, I'm not saying that they said they have a new person in mind. They said they want to cage for a new brain to come to council and then let them see that one too. Not necessarily like they have somebody in mind who should come. You understand?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, okay. Any other questions? Yes. Can you raise? Okay, yes. Who is your question directed to, or every one of us? Okay, no problem, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much. I think holding government accountable is a process. And these are among the process that we are going to do. And among them is to tell the government that you need to correct what you have done, which is not right. I'll just give you an example to show an indication of what you are saying, if it happens to be in place, is that if Lamin is removed today, they can remove anybody tomorrow. And if that anybody is removed tomorrow, they can remove someone else again the other day. So the problem that we have here is not about Lamin as a person, but the institutional integrity, the institutional mode of operation. That is what we have problem with. Because you cannot expect an institution that represents youth from different, like I said, demographic, different background, just its leader to be removed just like that without any form of transition. That is what we as youth, among others, think it was unfair, and we definitely thought that it is unwise for a government also to do so. So therein, the advocacy is a process. And that advocacy, that's why Lala said, we're going to use steps in getting onto that place, so that these could be the end of it. Thank you. Yes, please. Yes.
Good afternoon. I am from Ghana Talents TV. My question goes to the Government Chairperson. Sir, a lot of people say your executive haven't done anything for the youth, and most of you are above the age of 35 years. as an executive, you should be representing the youth. You should be below 25 at least. But instead, you are above the age and you are there for your selfish interest. So what is your reaction to those allegations? What are your achievements?
Anyway, I think those are unfounded allegations based on the fact that since the inception of the National Youth Council in 2000, this council that is in office has achieved. When I came to the National Youth Council, we were struggling with one old vehicle. We were only struggling with one old vehicle. Today, after coming to office in 2017, I was able to secure 2 bright new vehicles from the Chinese embassy. Since the inception of the National Youth Council in 2000, all the chairpersons who came before me fought very hard to get a landed property for National Youth Council where we were going to build a National Youth House. It was not possible until when I am the chairperson of the National Youth Council. Through our negotiations with the government, they were able to allocate a land to us around the airport. Today, we have fought very hard. Almost all these reform mechanisms that we have in this country, we have young people that are represented in those mechanisms. You go to TRRC, you have Mustafa Mopuka representing the young people. We did the interview. And 3 of the people that we have from that interview that we did to have a young person that is going to represent us at TRRC, we are all absorbed. Our first candidate is now the current Deputy Executive Secretary of the TRRC. When that one went, they appointed her as Deputy Executive Secretary. We sent is it Ablai Ba or Usman Ba? That one went and they've appointed that one. Instead of being a commissioner, he was appointed. Mustafa was the 3rd person. Mustafa was the one that we later agreed for. That one has to stay as commissioner. You go to almost all the mechanisms. The CRRC, Yankuba Manjang is sitting for the young people in that team too. So if people said we are at the National Youth Council and we are working there on our selfish interests, I would have stayed in America when I went to America. If at all I'm selfish, I would have stayed in America and probably nobody will travel to United States again from National Youth Council. Because we know how we suffered when the then executive director went to United States and stayed. We know how National Youth Council suffered in getting to that place, in getting visas to go to and attend international forums. You know, so we as a council, probably some of us, when we started, we were within the age. By virtue, that's why we said, even the congresses that normally happens at regions, we tell them you have to be at 33 years. And before you finish your 2 years, you might be at 35 or 36. But that's normally the chairpersons at the region. But at the level of the chairperson of the National Youth Council, there is no age limit stipulated. It will be sort of something that is very good and welcoming if we get a young person as young as 20 or 30 years or 18 years to become the chairperson of the National Youth Council. And so all the people who ever served National Youth Council as chairperson, I'm the youngest among them. All the people who ever served as chairperson of National Youth Council, I am the youngest among them. So that tells you that we, the team at the National Youth Council, work tremendously well. Some of our young people are here. There used to be a time you cannot even write to UN agencies to support your programs. But today they run after us. They come to National Youth Council to say, we have this project, we want you people to do this for us. This is supposed to be implemented by this organization, they cannot do it, so can you please implement it for us? So the team at the National Youth Council today are a very proud team. All our efforts have beared fruit, and that's what I always tell people, and I sometimes, even if I brag, even with Minister yesterday, I told him that I have nothing to lose. Even my children can feel proud that what happened in my time at the National Youth Council has never happened in any other person's time at the level at the National Youth Council. So we are not there for our selfish interests. Whoever is saying that they are just trying to probably tarnish the image of myself and the entire council, the council is working day and night. We don't have even closing time at National Youth Council. People whom we appoint for work,
when they are coming, we tell them we work 24 hours per day and 7 days a week. This is what we tell them. So we don't have time. Sometimes you don't even sleep. Sometimes I will be awake up to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, just talking to young people, trying to solve issues. So that's basically the issue. That's those, you know, in any organization you work, people might have said things about you, but those are unfounded.
I think I had actually had this conversation with clients on social media yesterday. When issues like this happen, I think it's important that we stay on these issues, because right now our priority should be how we get our institutional problems fixed within the National Youth Council. And right now what we are saying is we want changes to happen within the council. We want an amendment of the National Youth Council Act. We want the government to respect our voices as young people. And we should be united on this. Now, when this comes to an end, when we have our wishes granted, when we have our demands respected by the government, we can talk about whether or not the National Youth Council is doing enough. We can talk about how we take steps as young people to change that. We can talk about how we are supposed to work together and collectively put efforts into making sure that if the National Youth Council is not doing enough for us, we speak up about it on institutional level and we bring about changes. But at this moment, talking about these issues is just something dragging us from the main attention of the issue.
We will be precise in the questions also and not to divert attention as well. So yes, please.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One for Lara and the other one for Christina. The one for Lara is you said you might not protest, but on social media, I've seen a lot of you know, talking about protest and protest and protest. So what happens if this youth has to go out? Would you rally behind them to support? And the other question for Taslima is that do you really think this is a political move, removing the executive director?
We respect the views and differing opinions. When issues like this, obviously we are going to have difference in opinions and views, but our main objective, all of us, our main motive is to get one thing and one thing only. So obviously we are going to get to a certain point where we might have disagreements within ourselves as young people, but we respect each other enough to be able to stand up for each other, to be able to you know, tolerate each other and respect each other's views and work together, have dialogues and see what is best for us to do moving on. And if it gets to a point where we have disagreements, we will handle it within ourselves and we will do what is best for us as young people. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Taslima. Let Taslima respond to that question.
My thing is a lot of work.
Okay, Father, I'll take her because I have concern with him. You and then Father. And that's it.
Thank you so much for the question. I wouldn't say it's a political move. What I can only say is that as young people, we feel it is the wrong call. And we demand that government rescind its decision. And even if it's a political move, I think it would be very amateur to do. Because why would you fire someone who is doing extremely well and has transformed the institution and has been doing very well, just because you feel that it's a political move? If it is so, we felt then the decision is very amateur, and it's something that we wouldn't have expected. And again, I wouldn't be justified. I wouldn't be saying authoritatively it is, but because I had a conversation with someone that I believe is close to the presidency, and the individual denied that even the presidency is aware of this decision by the minister. And the chairman mentioned that the ministers or the ministry took this action backing themselves by the act that empowers the minister to relieve the executive director of his or executive secretary of his position. But even doing so, what I found very fishy and not acceptable is for a permanent secretary to write dismissing the executive director, in fact saying this is in agreement with the minister. Why not the minister himself, who claims that the act empowers him to actually even relieve the executive director of his duties? Why wouldn't this letter come from the ministry? Why wouldn't the letter that terminates the contract of the executive director not state and quoting the state act that the minister is backing himself on? Which section? What were the basis? If there are any issues, or like talk about gaps, you confirm the guy. He acted for 2 years in his capacity as an acting executive director, and it's confirmed. The board also mentioned that going by the files, you could also see 2 letters that indicated that the executive director was appointed in an acting role, and then after it's been dismissed initially, it's been reinstated again and addressed as to act as an executive director. And again, you are terminating the individual, same position that the person holds, and then addressing the person as an acting executive director. It doesn't tell well, it doesn't add well. In fact, shockingly, is the ministry is addressing in the letter the wrong address that the National Youth Council occupies. The National Youth Council, we all know, that left the stadium way long time ago. So the ministry is telling us as young people, I don't even know where the National Youth Council is located. It's unacceptable. And this is what I have to respond.
Please, let us be precise with our questions, and also my colleagues precise with our answers. Thank you.
Thank you. I have two quick questions.
Can you make it one, so that the other people have
Yes,
to
for the chairman and lab. Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you about the reaction of the Deputy Permanent Secretary and what he said about Lamin Dabo. Is not habitual pertaining to the comments that Lamin Dabo made during when the boat capsized and not young people lost their lives. Don't you think all these grants that were made on state TV were basically directed to those comments that he made during when the Gambia was in a state of mourning? And then the second question is...
Thank you. Sorry, let's just take one. Sorry. Yes, please. Yes, Chairman.
Anyway, I might not be able to answer that directly because I am not in the, I cannot, step in for the Deputy Permanent Secretary, the reason why he said those. But I know one thing, the post in question that he's talking about was not even Lamin's post. That was the council's post. Before Lamin posted that on social media, he sent it to our National Youth Council page. We look at it, we edit it. Then that was the time. Then we asked him to share it on Facebook. But what he's saying, there was not even any portion of that post that questioned the credibility of the government. There was never a portion on that message. So those things probably the deputy permanent secretary knows the reason why he said them. They are best known to him, and I don't want to, talk much on that. What I know, that letter comes from the National Youth Council, not Lamin. Lamin is our admin secretary. He's our secretary. He's the secretary to the council. Whatever we decide as a council, it is Lamin who writes it, sign it, and send it to whoever we want to communicate to. So that communication was not Lamin's communication. It is my communication as chairman of the National Youth Council. Thank you.
I think just to clarify something, this is why we're emphasizing that we're not taking this issue lightly, simply because these are institutional failures that occur. Because if you're monitoring somebody to say that because of your statement we're doing this, or because of your statement we are not doing this, it means then we don't have autonomy. And this is why we're not taking this lightly, and all the young people are behind us on this issue. I think it's important to clarify. Yes, sister.
Yes, I will take that from that utility, and my question goes to the chairman. There's this sort of campaign on social media that the
to go on the streets if Lamin is not brought back to the home. But Lala did mention that you might not be planning to go back to, you're not planning to go on the streets, but people believe that it is fueled by the office itself. What's your reaction to that?
What is fueled by my office itself?
The demonstration to bring Lamin back.
Anyway, me personally, as chairman of the council, when this thing happened, I was copied in the letter that was sent to Lamin. When I got the copy, the first thing that I do is to meet the minister. When I got the information, before even having my letter, I called all my council members, told them this is what we have, and this is the issue at hand. But I don't expect each and any one of you to go on social media. Let's stay calm. I will meet the minister tomorrow, and from there I will call a council meeting, then we will discuss, and council will make a decision. And exactly that's what we have done. Those that are, even those that created the WhatsApp group or whatsoever, I have talked to Nyang. I told them, you are civil society, we are representing you. This is what we are doing. If you also have another approach that you want to do other things, that's left to you, but let it be peaceful. But as far as we are concerned, we are trying everything possible to engage the ministry so that Lamin could be reinstated. Their decision, they could rescind it, Lamin be reinstated. We move on. That had always been our stand. So I think I've answered your question. Yes.
You're still watching, of course, the live proceedings there at the press conference called by the concerned young people of this country, of course, civil society members, and of course the National Youth Council chairman also in attendance. They are trying to, of course, make their call and position with regards to the ministry's dismissal of the former acting director of the National Youth Council, Lamin Tabo. So we're having some technical issues there, but of course we hopefully will go back before the end of the press conference. Of course, there you were watching the question and answer session after they delivered several statements. Journalists also were asking questions. So I think it's good to, it's all right we go back again to follow the proceedings.
And it goes into conflict with parts of this bill, then it means this bill had to be scrapped. But until now, I am every day telling my secretariat that please look for funds for me so that we can revalidate this youth bill to go to the National Assembly, and then even the name of the council would have been changed to a National Youth Agency, where it will be an independent institution responsible to look at the issues of young people in this country. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatou Samba. My name is Jamin Kawis TV. Jotaay bi rafet na waaye dégg bu ma kenn mën na ko olof te am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne ñu ngi seetaan ndawi dëkk bi day am solo lool ci dëkk bi waaye gis nañ ne youth council bi fu mu nekk nii ñëpp a ngi wax Lamin xanaa youth council bi am na keneen ku dul Lamin koo xam ne pare na te am na ay jotuwaay ak mënuwaay pour taxawal li nga xam ne mooy council beneen bi moo nekk ne wax bu bari na lool ndax yéen seen ministre yi ñu bari di wax yeneen ministre yaa ngi dox waaye ministry of youth and sports dox gis ne ndawi dëkk bi ñu bari ay jàmbaar la ci waa Fukala macha allah waaye ndawi dëkk bi fu mu nekk nii ñu bari ñu ngi dellu gannaaw parce que daf dem kanam lan moo ko waral ministre bi ku indi sa proposal oo indi sa ay projet ñu tegal la ko benn place dafa mel ni farfalaate moo fi am moo bëgg a xam ne yéen you discourage seen ministre bi muy youth and sports ndax amu leen benn discourage boo leen def si ministre bi.
Jërëjëf, I will answer just for the purpose of the language there. Is it okay when I speak? Will you all hear?
Mbe batu kanen.
Okay. All right. Jërëjëf Fatou si laajte boobu noonu. Chairman, don't mind them. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so léegi lu ñoo def mooy pour mu gën a yombaa ñun Fatou question bu mu laajte man dinaa ko tontu si olof su ko defee chairman dina ko tontu in Mandinka so that suñ listeners si tamit ñu am the idea of laajte bon la Fatou nekk di laajte dégg ngeen ok jërëjëf Fatou sa laajte bi am na solo pour ñu xamal la rek ne suñ njëlbeeni wax bi buñ ko dooree wax nañ ne nekkuñ fi di wax pour ne Lamin moom as an individual comme lu ñoo wax Lamin ak nit ak boppam loolu taxul ñuy wax fii man sax mun naa nekk executive director bu National Youth Council ku ma gën a ndaw mun naa nekk executive director bu National Youth Council so kon du turi Lamin bi wala moo rëy wala moo màgga bu nga xam ne nii looloo tax ñu ngee xeex lii lu tax ñu ngee xeex lii mooy dañ bugg a façon yii bu mu amaati lu tax lu ñoo mun a moytoo façon yi bu mu am Lamin tey mun naa am liggéey bu nga xam ne mun naa am sax bu nga xam ne mooy ëppa wala mooy gën bu National Youth Council te ñun tey su Lamin demoon tey ëllëg dinañ am ku nga xam ne mun nañ ko faa teg pour mu doxal liggéeyi National Youth Council bi waaye mbiri tege boobu noonu ñuy teg foofu nit si place bi moo nekkul ñun si suñ loxo soo loolu lañ bugga mu nekk si suñ loxo ba nga xam ne ñun ba ku nga xam ne moo jógee Koyna ba ku nga xam ne moo jógee Amdala ba ku nga xam moo jógee Kaatong ñëpp dinañ mën a xam ne ndaw yi dëkk bi ñoo teg foofu noonu kooku ba kenn mënut koo génnee comme ni ñoo électé suñ council members yi soo coow li nekkul mbiri Lamin rek coow li nekkul Lamin ak boppam rek coow li mooy institution bi muy barabi liggéeyukaay bi naka la ñoo fexe ba nga xam ne képp ku nga xam ne mu ngi faa jël dogal képp ku nga xam ne nii mu ngi faa jël pour ni na ko def in consultation with the young people comme nu ma ko waxee am na ku gën a ndaw ku nga xam ne mu ngi fa tey mun naa jël place yi Lamin te liggéey bi dina dox parce que Lamin def na fa liggéey bu nga xam ne nii ñaata yoon du fi nekk ñaata yoon mu ngi tukki ñaata yoon dafa délégué mu ngi am youth organisation youth group yu nga xam ne comme ni ko chairman waxee daf leen a wax ne def leen li rek ñu def ko and loolu dem si liggéey bi soo kon nekkut ne dañ nekk di coow pour affaire yi Lamin fii nii lu ñoo coow mooy institution bi mu am matuwaay yu nga xam ne nii dina sàmm wante ak axi ndaw yi ak yellefi ndaw yi su ko defee ndaw yi seen boppa ñoom ñooy mun a seet kan la ñoo tànn ak ku ñoo jël affaire yi ministre bi laajte nga lu am solo si man suma opinion mooy du ma si wax parce que loolu ministre bi la affecté seen liggéey mooy ñu fexe lépp lu nga xam ne nii mu ngay dem si wàlli ndaw ñu def ko suñ ko defee baax na suñ ko defut will still put pressure pour hold them accountable waaye ndax projets yi ak yàgg yooyu noonu loolu moom man du ma si comment waaw
ndax yéen ndaw yi parce que tey yéen a fi toogal ndaw yi yéen ay baati ndaw yi ndax yéen ñi nga xam ne yéen a fi toogal ndaw yi yéen a ngi kontaan si ministre bi su dee kontaanu leen wax leen ko gars yi seetaan su ko defee ñu xam ne am na lu gars yi war a def te defuñ ko
su fekkee yaa ngi wax ministre yi loolu youth si rek la affect ñun am nañ kuréel gu ñu umba kuréel googu mooy mu ñu umba mooy National Youth Council ñu ngi nii dem boo mu ngi fi lépp lu ñu naxaari si ñoom dañ dee dem si ñoom ñu wax leen ñoom léegi seen responsibility mooy ñu dem ak ministre bi soo ñun duñ détermine lu ñu neex ak lu ñu neexut si ñoom parce que duñ ko mun a wax
ñu xool nga yéen kontaan ngeen si Ministry of Youth and Sport.
so now but like hello for the listeners Dembo I'll be happy. No, Dembo, I will suggest for our Mandinka listeners, you just, yes.
We have a very important follow-up on that same point. Or can I ask my follow-up question now? So that you
Okay, I do it once and for all.
take it once and for all.
Okay.
My question is regarding the fact that this is not the first time such is happening. The National Youth Council was going to be dissolved, if I'm not mistaken, and the youth had to take an action to make sure that that did not happen. This council wouldn't have been here. Now they are going after who? The executive director. This is a trend. What is your relationship with the, like she said, how is your relationship with the national, with the
minister
of youth? Because of, it seems like they are trying to eliminate the National Youth Council. They try to liquidate it. So please, it needs to be addressed.
Anyway, I just to respond to your question. I think before this, there was a very cordial relationship between us and the ministry. In fact, when the current minister came, after our second engagement with him, we all believed that we now have a minister. That was what we were saying, because he listens a lot. He will always ask. That's the type of person we had as minister.
The current one.
The current one. So honestly speaking, the relationship between National Youth Council and the ministry is very cordial, and is still very cordial. So for that one, I can say that for free. We have no issues with them. We have no problems with them.
So when they were trying to eliminate the National Youth Council, it was cordial. And now that they are trying to...
No, what I'm saying is, the relationship between us and the ministry is cordial. Probably ministry might have some plans against certain individuals that we might not know. I cannot talk on that. But as a council, our relationship with them is very cordial. We don't have issues. Even when they dissolve the council, when I receive the letter, I go to the ministry. Then we are having government as our minister. I went to him. I told him this decision is wrong. You shouldn't do this. I told him, you have to rescind this decision. He said, okay, but before I rescind my decision, bring your council. Council were here. I bring all of them. The only reason why he didn't want his council, he addressed that when that person was sitting down. That person became the best friend to him before he left that ministry.
So you have one problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We're going to be fair to the people. We're going to highlight what we have spoken so that we can take this in the manner we need.
Because as a council, we are to advise government. We are not to attack government. And you cannot advise somebody by going to social media and advise that person. So that's what happened. That's what created that problem that led to the dissolution of the council. And when it happens, I took leadership. I went to the ministry, had discussions with them, have a frank talk with them. This is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. At the end of the day, we sat and reasoned as matured people, as partners in development. We resolved that issue. So that's why when this issue also came, I did the same thing. Because we have that smooth relationship between them. That's why I even got that hard to go to the ministry again and sit with them and talk to them on this issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, and
My question
wow, sa laajte bi naa ko answer nag. Li ma la wax ne ñun ak suñ ministry bi wax ma ne xale yi parce que ñun si suñ office bi National Youth Council ñu ngi liggéey ak xale yi. mun naa ñun ñu kontaan si ministry bi fekk xale yi kontaan ñun si ministry bi waaye su ma bëggee tontu loolu tamit su ma waxee ne we are very happy dañ kontaan si ministry bi xale yi mun nañ taxaw fale ñu ne he's a hypocrite loolu mun naa happen. So man suma relationship ak ministry bi is very cordial boobu mun naa taxaw fu nekk wax ko loolu du suma problem. Why this we are talking of a general issue that is talking on behalf of the entire young people, whether young people are talking, whether all the young people are happy with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, I might not be in the position to answer that. Loolu laa la wax ni ma ne suñ relationship bi ak ministry bi is cordial. We have no issue with them.
I think it's a press conference and not a
Wow.
confrontation of the back and forth.
Yeah.
We're taking it this way.
But we have follow-up.
Yeah, but you have follow-up. That's why I give you the opportunity to do the follow-up from me to the chairman.
No, but you didn't answer my question.
Okay, no, we'll come to that. That's fine. You have asked the question. You have answered. What we are going to do is like I'm going to count all that we have. We take the 5 questions from the media. Then we have our closing remarks by Lala, and then we call it off and continue our next step. I'll take 1. Who's taking part of you?
No, I
Okay. Aisha is taking 2. You are taking 3. So we are having 3. No flex. Okay, I'm taking flex finally. So we are having 4 questions that we are taking, addressing first. Then after we move. Yes. You wanted to ask the question to Lala? Yes.
all, thank you very much for the question. I am not a member of the National Youth Council. I am not working for the National Youth Council. So I think that question is for the council members who are working within the council to respond to. Whether or not they will resign, it's for them to respond to. Yeah.
Okay, you want me to? Anyway, just to cut the long story short, for us, most of us, I think we are preparing to leave the council. As you have rightly mentioned, so somebody has rightly mentioned here, some of us are over age. I am now an old man. I want to go and concentrate on something important about my life. I'm leaving the council by the 13th of July. And the rest of the council are also going to congresses in their various regions. And probably by the 13th of July, we're going to institute a new council that is going to run the affairs of the National Youth Council of the Gambia. So our time is almost at the end. There is nothing like going to resign within this short period of time. We are just going to complete our term because currently we are some regions supposed to even start their congresses tomorrow. So we are finishing the congresses and we will hand over peacefully to a team of young people that will come to lead the National Youth Council for the coming 2 years. Thank you. I think I've answered your question.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'll take it.
My final question is, I didn't even introduce myself. So my name is Gov'T and I work for Industry International. And my final question here is an open one though, anyone can answer. Do you think the government of this country or the ministry are taking youth of this country seriously? Anyone can answer.
Okay, thank you very much. To me, personally, my own opinion is I would say no, because one example is this: you have a body that represents youth in places. Okay, thank you. All right. So what I'm saying is, personally, my own opinion will be no, because we have our elected members in all the regions of this country. We are the one who elected them in office. And you have been informed or you have been told in an act or in a document that any action that you're doing, you could do it in consultation with them. And you are not consulting them. It means then the representation is lacking. And that's where our problem comes in today. Because like somebody asked earlier, that is it only Lamin in that position? We said no. I said even a youngest person in this youth fraternity could take up the leadership of that position to manage the affairs of the youth. What we have problem is taking decisions without consulting the youth and also taking your own decision for your own interest. So I think that is what we had problem with. Okay, thank you. The final question from Flex Dan before Lala does the closing.
So my final question is to the chairperson regarding the statements you made earlier that you are with the young people. You are with the young people. And I think you kept saying that. So that's an important, very important statement. But when you say you are with the young people, then at the same time you have a very good relationship with, you say you have a good relationship with the youth, yeah, with the ministry of youth, yeah. But at the same time, they are trying to eliminate the National Youth Council. How can you reconcile that? And then also, most importantly, the youths are saying that they are ready to protest. But if you are with the youths, then where they are, you are with them. So, how far are you guys ready to go? Because they have tried to eliminate the National Youth Council. When the youth say they want to go out and protest, are you with the youths? There.
Probably the way I'm going to answer that question, I wouldn't tell you that I will go out in the street, and I wouldn't tell you that the young people will go out into the street. That's where I talked about leadership. Leadership, or trying to get a result out of a struggle, is not always going out into the street to fight. There are many, many, many ways to kill a bird. And the reason why I said I'm with the young people, I'm a young person myself, and the institution that I serve, I am there to serve these young people. I'm not there to serve any old people, and I'm not there to serve anybody. And that's why my responsibility, my primary responsibility, is to advise the government on the issues of these people that I served. That is my responsibility. So nobody can part National Youth Council and the young people of this country. And whoever holds the position at the National Youth Council, basically, whether you like it or not, whether you are fulfilling your responsibility or not, you should always be with the young people. When they are dying, die with them. When they are living, live with them. That should be the person who is ready to represent the views of the young people. Understanding the dynamic nature of the young people. So we as leaders, this is us. They are the people who voted for us. Probably I became national chairperson. Before becoming a national chairperson, I was chairperson in West Coast Region. I was voted twice to represent West Coast Region at the National Youth Council. So it is young people who made us to sit in these positions. So they cannot have issues and we stand other places and said we are with these other ones and we leave them lonely. Then it means their position have no use for them. That's why we are going to stand with them. But we are going to provide them leadership to ensure that we jealously guard the peace and tranquility of this country. But any person that they want to go to which is in the ambits of the law, myself, Dembo, can be the chairperson of the National Youth Council, will always be with them. I think I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, Dembo. And that was the final question.
Good.
For the media, we would like to thank each and every one of you. We would like to thank our colleagues here. And I will hand over to Lars to give the final remark on this occasion. To the media, we are very grateful. It was yesterday that we sent this message, and you all shown up. We are very, very grateful to your commitment in serving and giving information to the general public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Babukar. Thank you to my colleagues with me on the table. We stand by everything we believe in, and we stand by everything that we've said here as a collective. And maybe the National Youth Council, the chairperson, was not able to get into depth of some of the things that he was asked because of, his serving an institution. But for us as activists, for us as civil society, we are not going to, not answer these questions properly. Is the Ministry of Youth and Sports serving in our interest? Are they doing enough for us as young people? No, they are not. This is the answer that every young person will give you, every concerned young person in this country will give you. They are not serving in our interest. We barely even see our minister. We barely even see our minister. So we have to be ready to speak truth to power. We cannot hide behind not wanting to be labeled or be tagged or be looked up, be called somebody who does not support. This has nothing to do with supporting or not supporting the government. It is speaking the truth when we have to speak it. The ministry is not doing enough for us as young people. And it is about time that we stand up and speak truth to them. It is about time we stand up and tell them that we want you to do more. You're not doing enough for us. Every year they're given a portion of the national budget. What do we get as young people? What opportunity have they created for us? So for us, this is not just about, like I said earlier on, this is just not about Lamin's dismissal. We are very disheartened, we are very sad, and we are very, 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 this came to us as a shock because we were not expecting it. And dismissing people who are working for state institutions or who are working for institutions like the National Youth Council is inevitable. People come and go. And probably the next person who's going to come to replace Lamin, if he is not reinstated, is going to be somebody who is equally going to do as good as Lamin has done for us as young people and the institution. But what we want is the government to respect us. What we want is the government to respect our views, to respect our opinions, to remember that they're here for us. They cannot go on making decisions like this. If Lamin, yes, had professional misconducts that he did, financial misconducts. He had issues operating the NYC as the executive director. And he was fired within reasonable explanations. Then yes, we would have accepted. But we cannot accept for somebody who has given everything that he had to serve the National Youth Council, to serve us, to just be dismissed like that and nothing is done out of it. They can do it to me tomorrow, or Babukar, or any other person who serves in that position later. So this is why we are taking a stance to say the act that empowers the ministry, the act that empowers the state to interfere within the execution of the mandate of the National Youth Council as an institution, we want it to be amended. We want change. And we cannot get that change if we as young people are not ready to speak up the truth to power. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, there you go. That's finally brings an end to the press conference there, called by, of course, the young people of this country. As you heard from them, they had, sent out a very strong message to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or should I say to the government as a whole, that their views need to be respected. And of course, also they want to protect, their views and the youth council as well. So that's why it is. And of course, I think they have made their, demand very clear that they want Lamin back as executive director of the National Youth Council. But not only that, all right, as one of them put it, that they want, of course, the government to respect the National Youth Council as an independent institution or organization, however you want to call it. And then because Lamin has been there and of course greatly, representing the Gambian youth, as they have said. And, just at the end, as that young lady said, that the ministry is not doing enough for the young people of this country, as she puts it. So I think it's a very interesting statement, and of course the message is very clear as well. What's going to be the response from the government, we'll wait and see, and of course time will tell. But I want to believe interesting times ahead, because I think this is the first time we have seen of such in this country in recent times or in recent years. It's a different position or maybe a different approach youths are taking, and I think again, they have called for a calm, for the youth to be calm, because they are going to engage the government. As the chairperson of the Youth Council have said, Dembo Kambi, that consultations have already started between them and the ministry, and of course other relevant stakeholders also. And by extension, Lamin himself have sent a petition to the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, and also sent a letter to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So what's going to be the outcome of that, we'll wait and see. So it has been quite a very interesting moment, by the way, and the youth have spoken, and I think the Gambian people have heard what they have said, and of course those people also in the diaspora following the press conference right here, courtesy of Africa TV, equally have heard the message today from the young people of this country. And just briefly, mbokk yi comme ni ngeen ko déggee rek ci press conference bi léegi ndawi Gambie ñoo dajaloo woon bokkoon ci mooy ay ndawi activiste ñi xeex di ak yelleef ndaw yi, waaye tamit bokk ci di chairperson bu National Youth Council pour woote daal ci dogal bi nga xamante ne Ministry of Youth and Sports mooy ministre bu gàlloo wàllu ndaw yi ak tàggat yaram ci réew mi, pour ñu daal di del si gannaaw ci décision bi nga xamante ne jël nañ ko pour daal di génne executive director bi moom Lamin Dabo ci place bu mu nekkoon. nee nañ ñoom ànduñ ci te duñ ci ànd because ci dogal buñ gis li nga xamante ne buñ jël àndut ak sarta yi nga xamante ne yooyu moo ànd ak li nga xamante ne mooy dogal gi foofu. te loolu sax nee nañ daal war nañ amend mooy ñu gestuwaat sarta yooyu nga xamante ne ministre bi nee nañ ñoom foofu lañ sukkandeku pour daal di jël dogal yi nga xamante ne jël nañ ko ci loolu. su ko defee loolu moo xew ci li ngeen déggee ñu wax ko fu mu nekk nii nag waxtaan bi dina continuer ndax nguur gi nag nañ tontu ak lan moo war a nekk seen taxawaay, loolu nañ ko xaar ci kanam tuuti incha allah fii ay bési ay bés ci kanam ñoom tamit xam naa mun naa am amaana tontu dina fa am wala lu ci munta am daal da ngeen ko déggee ci ñoom incha allah waaye tamit ñun nañ leen ko yeggee incha allah. Well, of course, that's all we have for you on this special edition. We just, as always, wanted to bring you on the latest happening of this recent development, of course, as they called on this press conference to talk to the Gambian people, but also to the young people across the country and those that are in the country, and of course beyond, also outside the country, and let them know what is their position with regards to the decision taken by the Ministry of Youth and Sport to dismiss the former acting Executive Director of the National Youth Council. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company, and stick around with us. We will keep you, of course, updating you on other development as it happens in this country and beyond. This is Africa TV, wherever you might be watching. Till we meet again, thanks for watching and bye for now.